Right, guys, welcome back to yet another video of Age of Sigmar Dominion with my right-hand man, Mr. Grant Fraser.
Oh,
again.
Video 5, I think, as well.
I think we're up to the 5th video at this point. I don't know how many more there's going to be.
No.
If you've watched all of the others, thank you very much. If you've come here...
Why?
You what? What was that?
Why? How have you managed to watch through all of this?
Yeah.
Utter nonsense.
Yeah. So we've already covered the core rules. We covered the match player rules. We've covered, at the point of recording this, we've also done the Cruel Boys. Now we are doing the Stormcast Eternals. I am going to be building Indrasta, whilst Grant talks about some of the new Stormcast units and their slightly improved allegiance ability, Grant.
Yes. So, like, I'm a huge Stormcast fan. I played them before 2nd edition. I played them during 2nd edition. But they've been kind of boring for a while. So I'm really excited to see...
Lucy got very, very bored of them as well.
They were just in a bad place. The book came out super early and never really got touched.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's because there's going to be a big revamp, and we're going to see now what at least they've done for the new stuff here. So Scions of the Storm is the one that we know and love. It's as it was. Is there still those units? Instead of setting up a Stormcast Eternals unit on the battlefield, you can place it to one side and say that it's set up in the Celestial Realm as a reserved unit. You can set up one unit in the Celestial Realm for each unit you have set up on the battlefield. So it's exactly the same.
Yep.
At the end of your movement phase, you can set up one or more units onto the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemies. So that hasn't changed. But this new one, I love. It's
so good.
Super thematic. The Blaze of Glory. Which is a great John Bon Jovi song. If a friendly Stormcast Eternals model is slain within 1 inch of an enemy unit, before removing that model from play, pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of that model and roll a number of dice equal to the wounds characteristic of that model.
So good.
Just add 1 to the number of dice you roll if that slain model has the Thunderstrike keyword.
Yep.
For each 6, the target suffers 1 mortal wound at the end of that phase. So, yeah, okay, it's not going to do a heap of damage, but just the fact that's just the lightning blast coming down for them and taking their souls back to Azir, love it. Especially when you kill a Starge, you can get to roll 16 dice.
No, because you know what will happen?
What?
Lucy will roll 16 sixes.
Yeah. Good, it'll be the most damage a Star Drake does all game, unless they've changed it.
Yeah. Lucy's going to be the only person I know to kill Lord Croak after he suffers 2 wounds.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So now we'll go through the units, and we'll start with Indrasta.
Before you jump onto Indrasta, I just think that is so good, right?
Oh, that's great.
That in itself just lifts Stormcast so much higher than what they were.
I mean, it's on a 6 inch within 1 inch, but there's probably going to be ways to buff that.
There is ways to buff that.
Is there?
Yeah, the Thunderstrike keyword, Grant.
Yeah. I mean, above that. I mean, like, there could be a Storm host that's maybe got more explosive. Be summoning back to us. They might get extra dice or something like that. Like, it's a mechanic that can be played about with, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to point out as well, obviously, like when Retributors and Paladins die, that's 3 dice per Retributor or Paladin. That's like 5 per Dracoline or 6. Like that.
5.
You're gonna do damage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, heroes. That's 5 or 6 per hero that dies.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
I just think that's so good.
I just love the how it fits in with the established lore of the Stormcast.
Yeah.
And even the Thunderstrike keyword, improving it makes sense within the established lore. because the Thunderstrike armor exists because the Stormcast were struggling to get their souls back to Azir.
Mm-hmm.
The Thunderstrike armor is better at it. So it's got more power when it explodes. So yeah. Big fan. Now we'll do Ian Jastra, who I think is amazing is in this box.
Oh, absolutely.
I never expected that.
Like, we all know GW prices, yada yada. I'm not going to go into it, but we know, right? They could have put this. I mean, the Lord Celestin. No, what's he called? Celestin Prime used to be 48 quid. He's probably about 55 now.
Probably.
Like, she could have been 60 quid and people would have bought her.
Yeah, because she's a phenomenal model. So yeah. Movement 12, 8 wounds, Bravery 10, and a 3-up save.
This 3-up save is important, though. As we go through the rest of the Stormcast War Scrolls, you'll see a very familiar trend.
So, missile weapons. Vengaver has an 18-inch range. One attack.
The Spear of Telesar.
What now?
The spear that Sanguinius has.
No.
She's just Sanguinius' daughter, man.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, 2's to hit, 2's to wound, -2 rand, d6 damage. Fine. But that's not why you're taking her. No. Really. The Blade of the High Heavens. So, 4 attacks, 3's to hit, 2's to wound, 2 rend, and a flat 3 damage.
That's nice. That's so nice.
Which is, I think, roughly where Galmaraz is. So I hope we'll see Galmaraz get a bit of a pump up. But yeah. So this unit can fly, as obvious by her rather large wings. So she is the Prime Huntress. If any enemy monsters are within 3 inches of this unit, add 10 to the number of wounds suffered by those monsters when determining which row on their damage table to use.
That's so savage.
Yeah. You can afford to charge her in, and probably not worry if she's fighting a monster because they're going to be on their lowest bracket. Especially if you've managed to shoot them first and chip off a couple of wounds just to make sure.
Oh,
they'll be
absolutely.
right down their lowest bracket.
Absolutely.
Champion of Sigmar. This unit has a 4+ ward save.
If you missed the core rules, a ward save is basically a generic term now for after save wound negation. So yeah, having a 4 ward save after that 3-up armor.
Yeah, 3-up armor, 8 wounds, and a 4-up ward save.
Like that's good.
Yeah. Dazzling Irradiance. Once per turn in your hero phase, if this unit is on the battlefield, you can return 1 slain model to each friendly Stormcast Eternals unit with a wounds characteristic of 3 or less that is wholly within 12 of this unit.
Paladins, Evocators, New Annihilators.
Basically every foot infantry unit you can bring, but they've got to be wholly within 12 of her.
Yeah.
So you're probably only going to get 2, maybe 3 units if you clump around her.
But still, like when you
particularly if you are on the receiving end of an Alpha Strike, for example, she's probably going to be clumped around enough units that you're going to get a model back in a good few different units.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But like, she's going to be up there anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At least one unit's going to be supporting her, so they're going to be getting the benefit of it if no one else is.
But it's the fact that, like, I mean, just going back to points, how many points are Annihilators and how many are in the unit?
It's 3 in a unit, and the points are... Jumping ahead here, 190.
190 for 3?
Yeah.
Oh. So, I mean, that's what? 60 points per model?
No, that's 120.
No, there's 3 in a unit. 3 times 60 is 180.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't count.
Like, if you even put one of them back,
Yeah,
like two or three times in a game,
it's a big deal.
yeah, that's good.
Especially when, as we've said before, it looks like we're probably dealing with largely smaller units this edition.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can bring back a model is going to be huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like her a lot. One more ability. Hawk of the Celestial Skies. Do not take battle shock tests for friendly Stormcast Eternals and Cities of Sigmar units wholly within 12.
Which, as we said, because you can't like double up on Inspiring Presence and stuff now, like that's suddenly a lot more important.
Yeah. And again, with her also affecting Cities of Sigmar, she is really becoming the Celston Prime, which is what Games Workshop said. She's the new Celston Prime level hero, because he also gave +1 bravery to all Order units or something like that.
Yeah.
He'd have buffed the effect in more than just Stormcast anyway.
Which is
So
nice
now,
that Stormcast are kind of there, and do you know what I mean? That they are helping the rest of the realms.
Well, this new edition is less them in Azir and more them down on the ground in the cities, interacting with people.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. I always loved the Vanguard hunters and that.
Mm-hmm.
And their whole thing was that they didn't go back to Azir very often. They stayed in the wilds, they camped, they lived like that. And it's stuff like that we don't really see that much. A couple of novels. Neve Blacktalon novel touches on it, which is a great book. But back to the next character, who is the Lord Imperatant. So movement 5, 7 wounds, 9 bravery, and a 3-up save.
Yep.
So missile weapons, the Stormcaller Baton, 18-inch range, d6 attacks, 3s to hit, 3s to wound, -1 and 1 damage.
I do wonder why the baton isn't also a melee weapon.
Because also it's quite fragile. You don't want to hit people with a heavy, you might break it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The melee weapons is the Blessed Warhammer, 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. And the Vicious Beacon Claws, 4 attacks, 3s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. And here we see that companion keyword again. So the Gryph-hound must remain within 1 inch of the Lord Imperatant.
Yep.
And one thing that I think I noticed that you can confirm, maybe, if you've got the instructions in that kicking about, it looked like the Gryph-hound was on a smaller base in some of the photos.
32 mil base.
Yeah, they come on 40s just now.
Yeah.
So obviously, it doesn't really matter because they're treated as one model. So it's not really as big a deal if he's on a different size base, but I did think he was on a different size base.
Yeah, 32.
So that's quite nice to check that. So his abilities. Distinguished Leader. Once per turn, this unit can issue a command without a command point being spent.
That's pretty useful.
That's a lot more useful than it was, I feel, because we've got a lot more command abilities now, and we lose command points at the end of the battle round. So you're gaining 1 free with him every turn.
Yeah.
So yeah. But this next one, I think, is why you take him. Once per turn, at the end of your movement phase, if any friendly units with this ability are on the battlefield, you can say that they will guide the arrival of Sigmar's warriors. If you do so, pick 1 friendly Stormcast Eternals Thunderstrike unit with a wounds characteristic of 3 or less that is in reserve. When you use the Scions of the Storm Allegiance ability to set up that unit on the battlefield in that phase, you can set up more than 7 inches away instead of 9.
Yeah, so you want that unit of Annihilators 7 inches away.
Yep. He, coupled with Annihilators, is the way to go from this core set. Obviously, don't know what else is coming in, but those are going to be a great pairing.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we come to them. So now we have the new wizard, the Knight Arcanum, because we've got a Lord Arcanum and a Knight Incantor. This is the middle ground, the Knight Arcanum. Who I really love this model. I love the white, featureless face mask.
Yeah,
he's got on.
I'm going to build him now, I think, actually.
Excellent. So, movement 5, 6 wounds, 8 bravery, and a 3-up save.
So that's good. 3-up save
again. And I think a bit more wounds than we're used to seeing. Overall, these heroes all seem to have a bit of an extra wound.
Yeah, they normally only have like 5.
Yeah, and we're looking at like 7 and 6. So yeah, we're a bit beefier, which is nice.
Absolutely.
The Valedictor Stave. So 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, -1, D3 damage.
It's okay.
And can cast and unbind 1 spell. So the ability is Indomitable Lore Seekers. So predatory endless spells cannot pass across this unit or finish a move within 3.
That's good.
Again, this is great if you face endless spells. Obviously, if you don't, it's completely wasted. But if you happen to know you're going to be going against endless spells, I would put one of these on my list, no problem. Whether they would replace your Knight Incantor as your regular caster?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it depends, because they're going to rewrite the entire Stormcast book, so it depends what the new Incantor does.
As of right now, the Incantor's got the auto-discroll spell, whereas she defends you against endless spells. They're filling 2 different niches in magical defense, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And her spell is Blaze of the Heavens. So casting value 7 and a range of 18 inches. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy unit within range and visible. This unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. However, add 2 to the range of this spell for each friendly Stormcast Eternal's Thunderstrike unit wholly within 12. So if you have her surrounded even by 2 or 3 heroes and maybe 1 unit of Vindictors, you can add 6 inches to this spell, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the moment, I think she could be a good shout for if they get like their own lore or using some of those spells in the lore, because the Blaze of Heavens is nice. D3 more wounds, you can reach out a bit further than you would expect.
Especially with the change to Arcane Bolt, I think it is an okay spell.
Mm-hmm. I think in the Battle of the Wizards from this set, I think the Shaman edges it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that Shaman's integral to the Cruel Boys, whereas I don't think she's as integral to the Stormcast, whereas I think the Lord Imperaton's quite integral.
Yeah.
So here we have the new Knight Vexilar, the Knight Vexilar exists just now, but this is a new banner and a very nice new model.
Yeah. Fantastic model.
So, movement 5, 6 wounds, bravery 8, 3-up save. And he has the Sigmarite Warblade, which is 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. So, which I think didn't used to be 2 damage before. I have a funny feeling it was only 1 damage.
I think it was only 1.
Yeah, so I think that's a little bit of a buff. Given that this character can find themselves in your combat, it's nice to have that extra buff.
Yep.
So, the Banner of the Reforged. Once per battle, in your hero phase, if this unit is on the battlefield, you can pick up to 3 friendly Stormcast Eternals units wholly within 12, or to be affected, wholly within 12 of this unit to be affected by the banner's energy. And you can pick the same unit multiple times.
Right.
So if you pick a unit once with this ability, you heal D3 wounds allocated to the unit, or if no wounds are available, you can resurrect slain models up to the wounds characteristic of what you rolled.
Okay.
You pick it twice, 2d3, pick it 3 times, 3d3.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you could, potentially get a nice little heal on. Again, your big unit of Annihilators, you've lost 2 of them. Right, let's go for the big 3d3 heal. Get at least 1 back, you might get 2.
Nice.
And then we've also got the Soul Charged icon, which is what all the Vexilars have. They've all got like one per use from their banner, then this other benefit, which is reroll charge rolls wholly within 12.
That's still pretty decent and usable.
Mm-hmm. Reroll charge is never a bad thing to have, especially when combined with a once per game use.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when we come to his points, we'll really be able to decide this. Now, this for me is the key unit. One of the key units. I know people love the Annihilators, but it's the Vindictors that really got me excited for Stormcast again.
So
I love the model.
How many people are going to say this wrong and say, oh, Vindicator?
It took me a while to get Vindictor drilled into my head, so probably quite a few.
Yeah.
But they are movement 5, 2 wounds as expected, 7 bravery, and the big one, a 3-up save.
That's the big one. This, I think, is an indication.
3-up save.
Yeah.
And the other big thing for them, a 2-inch reach on their spears.
Yep.
On a unit that's got 40 mil bases, a 2-inch reach is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
They can actually fight in 2 ranks. So each of them have 2 attacks. Sorry?
I was going to say, I think the 3-up save, if that is going forward across the Stormcast line, and like, this is one thing that always nagged Lucy. She was like, they've got a full suit of armour. Why have they only got a 4-up save when, like, other stuff like has no armour and has got a 5-up save?
I think Games Workshop are scared of pulling the trigger and making them a 3-up save.
Oh, just do it.
With the way the game is gone, I think it's fine. However, that said, this could be something that only Thunderstrike units get.
True.
This could be for the new Thunderstrike armour. Again,
imagine Liberators with a 3-up save, though.
It'd be good to use them again. I do have 20 of them that kind of do nothing.
Only 20?
Yes, because they're terrible.
We've got 30.
Oh, 60 was a list for a while, relatively recently, but God, I can't be bothered with that nonsense.
No.
Yeah. So 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. Again, nothing super exciting. I would argue that your Sequitors are probably going to still do more damage depending on how they've changed. At the moment, your Sequitors will do more damage. But I think we'll see them change because they were just far too good at everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this unit has a champion, so he gets +1 attack, and a standard bearer, which is great to see in a Stormcast unit. Like, I love the fact units have standard bearers in them because traditionally they haven't had standard bearers or musicians.
Yeah. So
the standard's nice, which is +1 bravery, which is fine. You're only bravery 7, so bravery 8's, a much better place to be.
Actually, that's something I remembered last night, and I meant to talk to you about that. Mm-hmm. We didn't see any rules anywhere that mention that you get +1 bravery for having 10 or more models.
No, that must be gone, which would make sense given the way reinforcement rules are working.
Yeah.
So Storm Soul Arsenal. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Storm Spear is a 6, the attack inflicts 1 mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. Yeah, well, nice, simple.
They learned that from the Crew Boys.
They did, but not quite as well. But yeah, well, actually, you know what? I think they're a 3-up because of the shield. Because the shield itself doesn't have any rules on this War Scroll.
Ah. So maybe Liberators with shields have a 3-up. Liberators with paired weapons don't have a 3-up.
Yeah. Could be something like that. So usually you'd expect to see something for the shields.
Wait till you get to the Annihilators, though.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Because I'm sure they've got a 2-up save because of that shield.
Which means they're a 3-up base, arguably.
Exactly.
But they got bigger armor, so... It's just odd that... And the shield isn't mentioned in their equipment. It just says each model is armed with a Storm Spear. The shield is just completely missing from this War Scroll entirely. It's just on the models.
At the same time, we've got to remember that these aren't necessarily the entire War Scroll.
Yeah,
because how many times did they release these just to make this box fair, and then the actual rules are different at the end?
So yeah, there is a chance these rules will be different, but as it stands right now, the shield doesn't seem to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Next, we have the Praetors. a new bodyguard unit.
I thought Praetors were Space Marine captains.
Only in the Heresy, and that's long past. So moving 5, 3 wounds, 8 bravery, and a 3+ save again.
Nice.
So they have the Soul Guard's Halberd, which is a 1-inch range, which is a bit okay. Don't know why it's only a 1-inch range.
Yeah, that's all.
I guess you fight different with a Halberd, I guess is how it could be, because Halberds are generally shorter range than spears, so we'll go with that. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, and 2 damage. The champion gets +1 attack. So
I like that all the champions that we've seen are just +1 attack, and
yeah.
I noticed that most of the recent books are just +1 attack.
Nice and simple.
Because
less
the ones where you get +1 to hit, it's like, right, I'm rolling all of these grot stabbers, right, and they're all hitting on 5s with the spears. Oh, but my boss hits on a 4.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time. Like, in the interest of speeding everything up, I think changing that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Soulforged Guardians. At the start of the first battle round, before determining who has the first turn, you can pick one friendly Stormcast Eternals hero on the battlefield to which this unit will be bound. Roll a dice before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to that hero while it is within 3 inches of this unit. On a 1-2, the wound goes to the hero as normal. On a 3-4, the wound or mortal wound is allocated to this unit instead of the hero. On a 5 or 6, the wound or mortal wound is negated.
That's so good.
Yeah. So it's a 3-up. On a 3-up, your hero doesn't take it, but on a 5-up, no one gets it.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to make great bodyguards.
What's the first wording of it? Is it says when they're targeted or when a wound is allocated?
Allocated.
So stick them next to Andrasta.
Yeah.
Would you still then get your 3-up, 4-up, then allocate? Or is the allocation before your ward save?
We'd have to go back and check.
Interesting point, though.
I don't think you would, though, because I think she's tanky enough and she's moving twice as fast as them.
Yeah.
I think but these guys could be good for your wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps them alive. And if any of your support heroes, and the Stormcast book has a lot of support heroes.
Yeah.
And then we come to what I think is potentially everyone's favourite unit from the Stormcast, is the Annihilators.
Terminators!
Yeah, but cooler. Actually, I don't know. I can't actually stick to that.
Do you know what? I love the armor on these because it actually doesn't look like royal and regal and righteous.
No.
It actually looks a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely terrifying. They've only got a movement of 4, 3 wounds, bravery 7, but a 2+ armor save.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it says anything about the shields in the rules.
It does not. No.
So I'm
Each model is armed with a meteoric hammer, so no. So they have 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 and 2 damage. So when you look at it like that, at the moment they don't sound terribly fighty. Because that's not. It's only 1 round. It's not, but there is more to come. And again, the champion gets +1 attack. So here we go. Blazing Impact. After this unit is set up on the battlefield for the first time, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 10 of this unit. On a 3+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, you can re-roll charge rolls for this unit. This was set on the battlefield the same turn.
And what was that? Something about a 7-inch charge, I think we mentioned?
Yep. Again, so now, so obviously you think, I'm dropping 9 away, I'm hitting enemies within 10, I'm going to make my charge harder. But if you're dropping within 7 with a rerollable charge, you can afford to start taking a few models off of your D3 mortal wounds before you charge. And then when you charge, you get Force of a Falling Star After this unit makes a charge move, you can pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of this unit and roll a number of dice equal to the unmodified charge roll for that charge move. Subtract 1 from the roll if this unit only has 2 models. Subtract 2 from the roll if this unit only has 1 model. For each 4+, the enemy takes a mortal wound.
So you're doing mortal wounds when you come in from reserve. To every unit within, was it within 12?
10.
10.
Within 10.
And if you bear in mind you only have to be 7 inches away and it's only a unit of 3, they can fit in places.
Are they 40s or 50s? I couldn't tell by the picture.
40s.
40s, yeah. So they're not even taking up that much more space.
Like, no. Like, that is going to be...
And then once you've done that, you then charge in, and you're effectively a Stonehorn in backed hits.
Yeah. So, like, you drop them down 7 inches away, right? You're going to hit probably... You could probably... If you plan it right, you could get 3 or 4 units.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then
especially if there's heroes not scattered around there.
Then you charge him with a rerollable charge.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do mortal wounds when you charge.
Yeah.
And you're still hitting reasonably well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you look at their melee weapon, you think, oh, they're maybe not as impressive as people were thinking based on the ridiculously imposing model. But then you realize just how much mortal wounds they're going to do before they even get to swing.
Mm-hmm.
And especially coming in with if you take the Lord Imperator as well, coming in 7 inches away with that rerollable charge, they're almost definitely going to make it in.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got to deal with 3 wounds and a 2-up save on each model, so 9 wounds, 2+ save. If you go into something that doesn't have a lot of rend, they're not going anywhere.
Nope.
So now we come to their points.
Okay. So what's the damage?
So the Vindictors. So this is your new battle line unit. So again, they can be reinforced 3 times. So these could go up to unit of 15. They're 140 points for 5.
That's all right.
So Liberators are, I think, around 100 still, maybe 90.
Secret is a 120 and way too cheap.
Yeah, I mean, Segwars are 100% getting changed, or they're going massively up in points. So I don't think it's really... I'm not going to compare them to them. If we compare them to Liberators right now, you're looking at maybe 45 more points for your Vindictors. I take the Invictors every time.
Yeah.
The Vindictors every time. Extra save, extra reach, better damage potential, because you've actually got rend, and you're 3s and 3s rather than 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
Or 4s and 3s, depending on what weapon you pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's a definitely a worthwhile trade. Indrastra is 300 points.
I think that's all right. She's quite tanky. She gives a bubble of ignore battle shock.
I think what we need to see for things like this and big queues like this is we've got to bear in mind that everything else is going to be going up. So she might seem expensive right now, but we're going to see what other equivalent units will go up in points when we get the General's Handbook.
Yeah,
and we'll see how she there. The Knight Arcanum is 150 points, which
I think in Cantors were 120, 140.
Yeah, they are, and the Exorcist is like 95 or 90. Sorry. So I think that's a sign that things are definitely going up, because I don't think that's where I point that compared to what we know.
No.
Knight Vexilar is 125, which for your rerolls around him all the time and your once per game potentially bring some back. I mean, if he brings back 2 Annihilators, he's made his points back.
Yeah, absolutely. The issue that you've got there is you've got 6 hero slots, and you've got so many other heroes.
Yeah.
That as good as he is, I think he'll just get pushed out.
I think so. He didn't see Vexilars very often before.
No.
So I don't know if that's enough to keep him in. The Lord Imperator is 160, and I think for what he does, that's all right.
Yeah.
you need to have a plan for him because you need to be taking him to get your free command ability every turn. So he's going to have to be close to units doing something and get your 7-inch deep strike.
Yeah.
So you take him if you're putting a couple of big heavy hitters in reserve, and you put him next to you put that unit in, put 2 units of Annihilators in reserve, put him next to a unit of Vindictors. Every turn, he can give them +1 save for free. So your Vindictors are on a 2-up save. And then because he can use the command point.
Yeah, but then free. As well, if you do want to keep him alive, stick the Praetors next to him.
Yeah, exactly. Then he's being kept alive. He's buffing up these Vindictors, so they're going to be nigh on indestructible. And then when he brings in the Annihilators, they're coming in danger close and just wrecking face.
Yeah. And then, of course, don't forget as well, Grant, if they charge, they're doing all their mortal wounds when they land, mortal wounds when they charge, then they're going to fight, then they're going to get hit back and die and do more mortal wounds.
Exactly. Yeah. If they die. I mean, it depends what you charge them into. There's going to be some things that they just won't die against.
Yeah.
I mean, if you charge them into a big block of 60 grots, I don't think the grots are pulling them down anytime soon.
They will do if they have a loon boss nearby, because they can do mortal wounds on 6s to wound.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you have a loon boss, then yeah. Apart from the loon boss, I think they would struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he'll just get mortal wounded off with the meteoric strike. When they come in, they'll just D3 mortal wounds to him, and he'll be half dead. It's fine.
Yeah.
So the Annihilators, as we said before, are 190 points, which So comparing them to Retributors, they're 220 points for 5. As a rough comparison.
Yeah.
So
that's 45 points of Retributor, and these guys are like 64.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're 20 points more.
I think Paladins are going to go up. I think Paladins will be closer to 300.
I mean, these guys they do mortal wounds when they come in. They've got a rerollable charge, and they do mortal wound impact hits, so they are doing more than your Retributors are. They're doing mortal wounds on 6s to hit your Retributors, fair enough. But I think the Annihilators are better, even though there's less of them. You know, so a unit of 6 is just under. A unit of 6 is quite a lot, though. It's 380.
Exactly. Where a unit of 10 Retributors, even paying 500 points for that, if they went up to 250, that's still going to do an awful lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of work. And you
can put them on a 2-up save for a command point as well.
Well, no, because they've got a 4-up at the minute, haven't they? And they'll go to a 3-up.
Oh, they do, yeah. Yeah.
Potentially.
I always thought when a 3 wounds was their thing, yeah. So I suppose, yeah, they're not survivable, though, Retributors. There is that going for them then.
There's so much Ren 2 and 3 in the game that you just they get cut down.
Yeah. And then your Praetors are 3 for 155 points.
So 50 points a model.
They will keep your heroes alive, but they're the price of another hero.
But wouldn't you rather? Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't you rather just take another hero or 3 more Annihilators for like 30 points more?
That's the thing. I'm not quite sure. I think when the Praetors were revealed, I thought, I don't know how they're going to fit. I think they're good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you maybe run out of points before you get to them.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know how 3rd edition lists are going to look. We don't know how much everything else is going to cost. Because at the end of the day, they're still 3 wounds, 3-up save, decent enough fighters that can tank a hero. So there maybe is a place for them.
Depending on what the missions are in the General's Handbook and stuff, like, isn't the one at the minute where heroes have to control objectives?
Yeah.
They might be decent at getting heroes
if missions
off.
like that, if hero missions are staying around, then, and you're going to events with Stormcast, then maybe Unit 3 of these is a solid pick, because you can just defend one of your heroes on one of the objectives with them, and work on defending and screening the rest, but at least that one hero's got the Praetors and then their bodyguard rule as well to get through, so maybe that's a potential for them. That comes down to missions.
Yeah.
I do think the Vindictors are my pick for best Stormcast unit coming out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree.
I think the Annihilators are great, but they're expensive. But I think Vindictors at 140 points for 5 with a 3-up save, I think they're probably going to be the new battle line choice for Stormcast.
Yeah.
Depending how Judicators, Liberators, and Sequitors and Vanguard Hunters all shake out.
Yeah, I think Stormcast are going to get a massive... Let's face it, they need a massive shake-up. They really do.
They do. They're not in a good place. They haven't been in a good place for quite a while. And they are... Like, what Age of Sigmar is built around is a Stormcast. I mean, Games Workshop replaced the Space Marine in front of their HQ with a Stormcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they want to be associated with Stormcast. And you just don't see them anymore.
No.
And there's definitely a lot of people excited about this now, and especially with the previews of models we've seen coming for both these and the Cruel Boys.
Oh yeah, because we've got the longbow, which I do like the look of, but I don't like the look of the chariot.
I love the chariot.
It's too high elf for me.
See, it just makes me think of Gladiator.
Yes.
And that's like one of my favorite films of all time. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I want to do a chariot army. Yeah. I don't care if it's terrible. I've done the stupid Dracoth army. Now I want to do the stupid chariot army. I know they won't be battle line. I know there won't be a hero option, but I'll figure something out for that. And I just want to have like as many chariots as I can get.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless they're really expensive. So that'll all depend on that. But if they're not stupid money, then yeah, I definitely want to do a heap of chariots.
Awesome. Well, that is the Stormcast review. Whilst Grant has been chatting, I have built the Knight Vexilar. I have built the guy with the Mind Mask, the Incantor replacement. Was it a Knight Arcanum?
Knight Arcanum, yeah.
And Indrasta was actually, other than one piece, pretty easy to build. But I've left her wings off.
Yeah.
To paint them separately before I glue them on.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a big brain play, that one.
Yeah. In fairness, I put glue on, I put the first wing on and thought, what am I doing? Took it off. But yeah. But yeah, let us know what your favourite Stormcast units are, guys. We'd be interested to see what you guys think in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please go and check out the rest of the videos. We've done the Cruel Boy review, and of course we've done the core rules as well as the matched play rules. We'll try and get some more recorded before these videos are allowed to be released, but we'll have to see what we can get done. Meanwhile, me and Lucy are going to try and film a battle report using 3rd edition rules, which is going to blow my mind with the amount of new stuff that I'm going to try and remember.
Yeah.
So I think...
Stormcast.
What does Lucy think of the new Stormcast?
Yeah.
2 seconds. So I've just been asked Lucy, and she said they are awesome.
Good.
But
no,
they seem very overpowered.
I don't know. I don't think they do. I think it's just Stormcast haven't had any power for so long.
And I think she's so used to them not being good that having something good feels overpowered. And it's possibly not. I
think as well, it's so difficult to say how this is going to fare in terms of power, because before we do any sort of like ideas of how strong these are, we need the General's Handbook. We need the points of everything else to compare them. Because we know everything's going to change. I would be surprised if like unit sizes changed and things like that based on reinforcement rules. Like, as it stands, I think they're going to be great. I think they look fun. I think it's what Stormcast needed to do to be an army that's relevant somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know about you, but I'm actually kind of excited about the next Stormcast boo. I'm not excited about the size of it.
Well, yeah.
But there's going to be some nice stuff in it, I think, and I hope.
Definitely want to pick up digitally instead of lugging it around.
Poor Lucy probably can't even lift it.
No.
And I genuinely feel bad when I built a Star Drake. Right, I put him like on top of a load of slate, and he's like really big and high. She can't lift him.
Mm-hmm. Well, mine's on a resin base from Terry. The thing weighs a ton.
Yeah.
Especially because I then put a magnet, like a self-adhesive magnet on the bottom, so it doesn't even come off my magnet case. It's broken like every time I try and take it off the magnet case. It's too strong. And then because it's a sheet of metal effect underneath it, it just weighs a complete ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Go and check out the rest of the channel, and we'll see you again very soon.